By the way, before the video starts, I want to apologize for my audio quality. Um, I use my phone microphone because my laptop microphone, I don't know what happened, it just stopped working, so. While I was on call with my friends, I was trying to get Queen Kitchana and succeeded. This is my experience with my chaotic friends nagging in my ear as I try to lock in getting Queen Kitchana badge in climbing. But first, we gotta go back to day one of the grind. Unfortunately, I started recording day one 22 minutes into the run, so we'll just go with what we have. Day one was certainly laggy because I'd put all the textures on, all the details on, and I had decent graphics, so it was very laggy. But the start of the day was amazing. I had managed to climb up in just around 20-30 minutes, which was like amazing pace considering I hadn't played for multiple months. And to get to this safety net right here, it's incredible. At this point, I was getting close to my PB in January, and I was starting to think, maybe I could actually beat it. It may have been a couple months, but considering the fact that I had this incredible consistency, maybe I could do it, but unfortunately not. After falling again, I managed to climb back up, and this time something was different because I managed to beat the jump, which meant that now this was officially a new PB and a very stressful one. But how far could I get? I mean, there was a low chance that I could fall far down because, well, there's a safety net. Well, a decent safety net. So, how far could I really go? The answer was to this rap, which is quite notorious in this grind because I fell on this rap quite a lot, including my very first fall at it right here. And while trying to make my way back up, the lagginess really shows because I just get sent down. And then, while trying to make my way back up again, I unfortunately missed the safety net and go flying all the way back down, which means I'm going to have to climb right back up. I got right to it, climbing up into the section where I got to at the start of the recording, but unfortunately I failed and I had to jump all the way down because of it, which sucked. I tried to land on a crumble, I think it was either a crumble or a brim, but I missed, and as a result that happened. I climbed back up in just 6 minutes, which was great pace honestly, but not much really happened past this point. All that really happened was just what you know from that net, just loop failing over and over again until eventually I gave up. Anyways, let's move on to my overall opinions for day one. Firstly, I apologise for the quality of my microphone. I'm currently using my phone microphone because my laptop one just decided, nah, I'm done, you're not helping me. But anyways, onto my opinions for day one. Day one was a very strong start, with me building consistency, and it showed with me reaching a new PB that can just be improved on in day two. Day two was off to a great start, with me managing to climb up in my best pace yet, clearing jumps that I used to find hard with relative ease, which was great for the mental and for getting this run properly started. I managed to clear the grip jump first try this run, which proved how much my consistency was getting better. I managed to make a lot of progress, but unfortunately fell down and got sent all the way down. I made it back up and managed to get to a similar point, but unfortunately the same thing happened and I fell back down to 1,000 meters yet again. I pulled an insane skip to avoid a jump that I really don't like because it's nasty, and the skip was cool. And then I pulled some crazy gamer moves, just hitting 180s, I don't even know what was happening. But then I actually began to lock in and I started to climb, managing to get back to where I was mostly in just 14 minutes, which was quite a nice pace for that section. I shortly made my way back to 1800 metres and cleared the grip jump first try yet again, proving that my consistency was getting a lot better. I got back to a similar spot, but unfortunately I fell all the way back down for the third time in this run, which wasn't great. So that meant I had to perform another skip because, well, I really don't like this jump and I want to avoid it, so I did that. I fell back down to 1000 metres and at this point it was getting quite tiring, constantly falling, so I decided to give it one last shot and I managed to get all the way to the wraparound, which was amazing. I managed to beat the wraparound, which is, you know, fantastic new PB, but it was kind of short-lived because a couple jumps after this happened. You know I gotta do this in every video, so firstly, before my overall views, I just want to say, please subscribe. Yeah, that's all. Anyways, let's move on to my opinion about day 2. Overall, day 2 was quite a nice day. I didn't make much progress, but I still made some, and at the end of the day, that's all that really matters. My mental was okay this day, because I fell at lunch, I was getting quite annoyed, but I managed to stay quite strong, which was good. Anyways, let's move on to day 3. I actually don't have the footage for day 3, so instead, we're just going to go straight on to... Day 4 was off to a very strong start, with me managing to climb up and beat the wraparound in my quickest pace yet, which was a sign to how good this run and my mental was going to be throughout the day. I also managed to reach this section for the first time, but I didn't know what I was doing, so I almost immediately fell back down. After climbing back up, I fell down again, but not too far down, so I managed to get back up quickly, and this time I actually managed to beat that section. But how far could this PB actually go? After this section, I kept climbing, reaching 2,200 metres, then 2,300 metres, 2,400 metres, and so on, and I just kept rising and rising, getting higher with each jump. The nerves were certainly increasing as well, but there was a net, so there wasn't much to worry about, until I reached this beautiful view at 3,000 metres. At this point, all that stood between me and the end of Queen Kitchana was this final section. However, this final section was probably the hardest section in the whole mountain. It had very hard jumps and required a lot of focus, with a risk of falling all the way back down to maybe even 1,000 metres if you're extremely unlucky, because that slope there, it just sends you flying down unless you catch yourself. So it's definitely scary. Let's just see what happens. You may recognise this section from the intro. This part is where I unfortunately fell from the final stretch all the way down to 2,000 metres, which put an end to today's session because, well, I did not want to continue after that. Anyways, let's move on to my opinions for day 4. Day 4, in my opinion, was my favourite day. I felt like my mental was a lot better, and I was just enjoying the experience a lot more. Because in the previous days, it would just be like, you know, I want to reach this point. But in this day, I was taking in the scenery around me. I was like looking around, I was like, Wow, I've came this far. This has been fun, and although I fell at the end, I can say that this was the best day. Considering this was the final day, you'd think I'd have some amazing start that put me right ahead for the torturous finale. But in fact, probably the opposite happened. The amount of loop failing that just happened time after time, all of the falls, and that took me, what, 50 minutes? So the first 50 minutes were just pure falling over and over again. So I was really going to have to step it up if I wanted to finish Queen Kitchana today. Eventually, I finally managed to break the cycle of loop failing, and at that point I just began to climb, finally reaching the beautiful view at 3,000 meters. Although I was pretty confident going into this run, Queen Kitchana quickly proved to me that it was the hardest map in climbing game, and the sloop failing section certainly proves that. What you just watched was me fall back about 400 meters, which, although it wasn't as far back as day 4, is still definitely higher. Although this time, something was different, because I decided to keep going. I have to say, I'm very glad that I did, because, well, I'll just let footage play. So with that, I hope this video was worth the wait, and I hope you guys enjoyed. So I'll see you in the next video.